All right, everyone, this is section 1.7, and I want to tell you something that is very, very vital and that has changed recently inside of Instagram and is going to affect exactly how we're going to be utilizing influencers and how influencers are going to be operating on social media. So, I really wanted to include these Instagram updates and give you guys a quick overview of exactly what went on in these Instagram updates. If you don't know, there were a lot of people up in arms because Instagram supposedly completely swiped Snapchat's idea of having a story that lasts up to 24 hours and being able to utilize the whole My Story idea. If you aren't familiar with that, the My Story is a picture or a video that you could post for up to 10 seconds at a time, and you could leave that up there and hit your entire audience with that for up to 24 hours. So let's get into it, and I'm going to start telling you about Instagram's latest updates. So the first update was the contact button on business accounts. Prior, there were not any options to have a business account on Instagram. It would just be a regular account that you could get verified on. But now with the business account, you now have the option to put this contact button next to the follow button once people go to your page. So as you see where there's red arrows pointing to on Gary Vaynerchuk's page, he has his contact information right there. So now you know for a fact that this is the person's preferred press contact. So this is the way that you're going to go about reaching out to this influencer or icon, or whichever page you're reaching out to on Instagram. So now this is great and all because it's an easier way to reach out to these people. But at the same time, it's a bit of a fallback because now everyone has the same ease of finding these people and being able to contact them. So that means their inbox is going to be absolutely flooded, especially if they are highly demanded. So that means you must stand out. So as we will be going over and have already gone over, you must stand out and you must be short and sweet and straight to the point. So you're going to be seeing a lot of that inside of the contact blueprint that we have inside of Influencer Marketing Academy. And it's just one of the many perks that you have of being inside of this amazing course. So on to the next. This is the My Story feature. So as you can see where the arrow is pointing, that whole row going across would normally be filled up with Instagram accounts. And as you can see, Grant Cardone was the last person to post, so I have an awkward thumbnail of him in the middle of speaking during one of his videos on Instagram. So this is inside of the mobile app, and now you would click here on one of the circles for each person's story and to view their story. So this story comes from every single one of your followers, and it's in order from left to right, from the most recent post to the later post that you've missed. So you could scroll through all of them and you could see exactly what these people have posted onto their story. And now this is a great way for people to reach out to their audience in a different way rather than just posting a post onto their timeline. So this is a different way to hit your audience, and you could also gauge exactly how many people are looking at your post. So when you're looking at the story, this is exactly what it looks like. So this is when I press on Gary V's little circle icon in the previous slide, and this is what popped up. This is videographer D-Rock recording him inside of a car. So this is up to 10 seconds per segment. It could be less, and these only stay up for up to 24 hours. You could take them down prior, and the best part about this is that you could see exactly how many people have viewed your content. So this is a great avenue for posting interesting content, whether it's pictures, videos, giving people an inside scoop inside of your business, just any really tidbit of information that makes your brand that much more engageable and that much more interesting. And there's really no limitation. You could have a story that is up to 5 minutes, or you could have one that's just a single post of 5 seconds. So there is free reign for you to take over the capabilities of using the My Story feature on Instagram, which was pretty much first installed on Snapchat and now has reached its way over to Instagram, which I find is super, super effective and super powerful because Instagram has a huge, huge user base, and now people who don't have the same following on Snapchat could now utilize their huge Instagram following using the same techniques that they would on Snapchat. So with a simple swipe up while viewing someone's story, as you can see, which is what I did on Gary Vaynerchuk's, it's going to freeze the story from where it is, and the person can engage. The person viewing can engage with the story. So this is a great way to get engagement from your audience through making people take action. You can do giveaways, discounts, certain calls to action. So let's say maybe have someone message what they like about your story or what they think about you have posted. Maybe you want them to vote on something so you get an idea on what you could do for an upcoming product that you're not too sure if it's going to be hot in your store or not. So this is a great way to do things such as customer surveys and get a greater idea within your audience as a whole. How are we going to utilize these new updates? The ease of finding an influencer's contact information is really just point blank with the contact button. And then also with the My Story feature, the most important thing that I find about this is that we're going to know exactly our influencer's reach. So not everyone is going to see the influencer that they follow's story, but this is a great way to see how many people are really engaging with them. So this is a very effective way to figure out how many people are really engaging with you, with the influencer that you're prospecting. So maybe you could request exactly how many people view their stories. For example, you could get a screenshot as proof to see exactly what they're getting in return from their post. So now you could see that maybe a person with 10,000 followers is only getting 500 views on their story, but a person with 7,000 followers is getting 2,000 views on their story because they have a much more engaging audience that they've built a strong relationship with. So now you could use this to your advantage and you could really put a greater value, a more set in stone value on your influencers, well, your prospective influencers' promotions that you're working with. And also the very cool part about this is you could use these call to actions for your own Instagram account. So not only influencers are going to take advantage of this new call to action and this new story feature, you could also use it yourself so you could get an idea of what's going on within your audience and get a good idea through surveys and promote discounts and certain sales that you have going on within your store. So you could also use the My Story with influencer promotions in a completely different way. So we've gone over how influencers have done the traditional featured post. Now we could do something completely different. Now we could negotiate something with an influencer such as, hey, I'm selling this bracelet. I'm going to send you this free one and I hope you really appreciate it. So now this influencer could feature this bracelet inside of their story. So maybe let's say they post their outfit of the day and your bracelet just so happens to be right in the middle of that because they're putting out your product. So this isn't a traditional featured post, but it's yet another way that these influencers could seamlessly provide these products and put it in front of their audience so that you could market in a completely different way, in a completely different spectrum. So this is going to open up totally new avenues on how we could spread our product into different audiences and different ways that we could work and really broker different deals with these influencers that we have at our disposal. So that's why Instagram's latest updates are completely changing the game. And they haven't really changed anything too much yet because people are just getting used to them because they just came out. But I guarantee you that they will be big time. So it's a perfect time to get in while it's hot and finally use the My Story feature that was so famous on Snapchat, which just so happened to be one of the fastest growing social media platforms in the past decade, and now use it on Instagram, which already has a huge user base. So take advantage of this ASAP and make sure you get in touch with those influencers and start using their My Story features for featured post and influencer marketing techniques. And what changes were made now? This is going to improve influencer ads through stories because now we have direct clickable mention tags inside of stories themselves. So now we could send traffic easier than ever. So not only are you going to be getting the engaging audiences from your influencer's following, but they can click right through from your influencer's story straight to your Instagram page. And it's going to be super seamless. I'm going to show you in the next slide exactly what it looks like. So sending traffic from stories is now going to be easier than ever. And also another change that was made was if you're verified, at the moment only if you're verified, you can provide swipe up links. So let's say if you were verified on Instagram, your brand's page was verified on Instagram, you could have someone view your story and swipe up to whichever link you desire, which would most likely be the homepage to your Shopify store. So that is not available to everyone yet, but if you can get verified on Instagram, once you do reach a certain point, that is going to be huge, but they're probably going to look into expanding that. As of right now, it is fall of 2016 and they do not offer it for everyone yet. So the update was just made. Hopefully we could see it available to everyone soon, so that it's going to be easier to get people to go straight to direct links through the Instagram story. So as you can see, here is the mentions I was talking about. So here you could share exactly who is in the story itself, or whatever brand is, or whatever page is featured in the story itself. So as you can see, this is just a quick example that was shown by Instagram once they put out their update. This is just a quick example that they wanted to put out. So as you can see, the @ symbol and the Instagram's username is right there, and once you touch it, you see a little module pop up, and you can see a little preview of the page, and then you click through to it, and that will take you straight to, for example, Nina NYC's page in this example right here. So as you can see, this is something that is super, super effective. Now just let's put this into the perspective of an influencer that is featuring your product. So let's say that they had a watch on of yours. Maybe you sell watches or bracelets, something that you could put into their hands. This is something that is super valuable because you know what? Let's say that someone took a picture of the bracelet or watch that's on their wrist, and then they drew an arrow to it and tagged your page right on it, showing that that is your watch from your page. So people could see that watch and directly connect it with your brand. And these are fanatics that are following these influencers. If they're watching their stories, they're taking time out of their day to go ahead and not only scroll through their timeline now, but go ahead and watch their Instagram story and be completely in the loop with their day-to-day actions and activities. So with that being said, this is super, super effective to get that engaging audience out of your Instagram influencers. And now this is another way that you could go about getting featured posts from Instagram influencers. So it's not going to be just a traditional post on a timeline. You could do this through stories, which is going to last up to a day. So there are so many different selling points that we could go ahead and use through this. And I think that this is going to revolutionize what is already a very quickly changing social media influencer marketing market as a whole. And this is something that needs to be utilized as quickly as possible. And here's just a glimpse into the see more links. You can see that only verified pages are allowed to use that as of now, because I can imagine they don't want to give everyone the power to spam people, because as you know, there are a lot of fake Instagram accounts that really wouldn't be sending people to reliable links. So right now it is only for verified accounts, but let's see if that changes in the future. So with this clear-cut advertising avenue, I think that this is a great way for you to drive quick sales. So with Instagram stories only being up for 24 hours, this is an amazing way to say, in this time frame, for example, you can get 15% off your entire order at my store. So you could bring a sense of urgency to the table and really get your customer base to take action quicker than really just being lackadaisical and letting an offer go by, rather if they were just scrolling by and they said, oh, well, that's a nice product. Now you can bring some urgency to the table with a Instagram story, because you're going to get this engaging customer first off, and then second off, you know that an Instagram story isn't up forever. So this is a great way to drive sales and really get your customer base incentivized to take action quicker than normal. So influencers will now be able to connect your brand personally. So as I've stated in previous videos, I think that long form content is great. And now when I stated how important long form content is in getting your product into your prospective influencers' hands, I think that this is increased leaps and bounds at this point, because if someone could connect visually your brand and an influencer that they follow through an Instagram story, going hand in hand, no pun intended, if someone literally has it in their own hands and is posting it, I think that is going to bring tremendous value to you and your brand, and your huge trust factor between you and a possible customer that is already familiar with their brand or not even familiar with it at all. So as you know, we could start utilizing this now, and I think that now is the best time to utilize it. Really is quicker. The quicker the better. There's really so much value to be brought to you and your e-commerce brand through these Instagram stories. So definitely start reaching out to your influencers now and try to hammer down on these different ways to reach out to prospective customers and get eyes on your brand. As you know, being on social media, we're day trading attention. So this is just another way for us to get into the market and start getting attention to our brands. So start using Instagram stories right now.